Hi friends, welcome back. I've been wanting to film this video so badly because I have just been itching to sit down and have a good old big chat with you. So I asked you on Instagram to send over some questions, anything that you wanted me to talk about, any topics, any burning questions that you had for me. So I screenshotted a bunch, wrote them all out on a list, and wanted to dive right in. Let's talk, let's chat. I also just finished filming my little drugstore makeup look, which I'm thrilled about. With the base, I just switched the lip because I was feeling a little wild and crazy. But just in case you're wondering what this makeup was, I filmed it. It's my drugstore makeup look. Just changed my top. And I also changed the lip. So I will link that here in case you missed it, if you wanted to see it. The first comment, not technically question, comes from Melissa Angeles, and she says, no question, just a huge I love you, been following you forever, love growing together. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. What a beautiful way to start this moment, because we are literally growing up together. It's insane. When I look back, like, listen, I have to be so honest with you, I privated so many of my old YouTube videos, and I was actually really inspired by Estee for doing this, because sometimes when I see X things or old things pop up in old videos, it's a little bit of a jump scare and I have some like PTSD, and I'm like, you know what? So I was actually very inspired to do the same. I did private a lot of my old videos, which is so funny because when you make them private, YouTube takes it off of your total video count. So I think right now it says I'm at like 1,000 videos or however many videos it is, and I'm like, oh, it's so many more than that. But yeah, it's crazy because as of July this year, I think that'll be my 13th year doing YouTube. It's been a long time. We have literally grown up together. So for so many of you who have been here since the beginning, it's crazy. It's been a wild ride. There's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and we have literally just been cruising through life together. It's so crazy. So thank you so much, Melissa, for that, and for all of you who have continued to stick with me. It's insane. We've seen a lot of life. And speaking of growing up together, are your 30s better than your 20s? So far, I would absolutely say so. I'm currently 31. I'm turning 32 in August. August 11th, 1993 is my birth date. I am a Leo, and I feel very strongly about that, and I love it, and I love my little birthday. And I would absolutely say that my 30s thus far have been far greater, far more enjoyable than my 20s. I still feel like we were robbed a few of those years. The last 5 years of the world and life has just gone by in a blink more than it ever has before. And in my brain, I still feel like I'm in my 20s. I still feel like a child, but so far, growing older has been nothing but a delightful experience. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I look back at my young 20s and I think, who are you? What were you doing? What are those life decisions you were making? There are so many things that I go back and I look at and I think, oh my, oh, well, you were young. And now when someone says like, oh, I'm 24, oh, I'm 25, I'm like, oh, you are so young. Like, those years are so formative, and the amount of life and growing up that I've done even in the last couple of years and how different I feel now to then. Like, there's so many moments and years that I look back on and I think, wow, that was a formative moment. Oh, wow, that was a crazy year. Oh, wow, my life changed at that moment. Like, it just keeps going. You keep growing and it keeps on getting better. At least that's how it feels. And I love hearing from people who say, oh no, the 40s are your best decade. Oh no, the 50s are your best decade. Oh no, the 60s are the best. And it seems like aging is a scary thing, but when you're actually doing it and you hear from the people who are in those moments, it just looks like something very exciting. And it just feels like the older you get, the more comfortable you become in yourself, the more strong you become in yourself, and the more peaceful it seems to be. I don't know, that or a midlife crisis. We'll see what's coming for us. I love the next question because I feel like it followed up so nicely from our little closet chat that we had, and we're sitting in the closet, so. Do you feel pressure to keep up appearances with your home, closet, face, etc. because of what you do? And to answer that shortly, yes, 100%. I feel like there's definitely a strong keeping up with the Joneses feeling when you are a person who's online and posting your face and posting your life. And I think that this would probably be true for a lot of people, no matter what kind of field or what career path you're in. I think at least in the beauty and fashion space, there's so many ways where you can kind of be relevant or be part of the cool girls, be part of the cool group, and be keeping up with the trends, keeping up with what's viral, keeping up with the latest and greatest apps and what's having the moment in the social media space. For sure, there's definitely a wave that you can be riding, and I've done that big time in the past. I think more so than ever over the last few years as I've gotten older, maybe as I've gotten like more comfortable in my home life. I feel like I'm prioritizing things so differently than I used to, whereas back in like the heavy beauty YouTube days, we were just pumping out videos all the time. It was just new, haul, new makeup, full face Friday, like doing all the things, going on all the brand trips, constantly doing PR unboxings. Like, still so much of that exists in my content and what I do, but I do feel less pressure because I just don't care as much anymore. I don't really care to like try so hard to stay relevant, I guess, or to keep up so much with the popular trends brands or what's going viral. I try to just kind of stay in my own little bubble, stay in my own little lane, and use the brands that I love. You know, over the years I have shortened and made that list smaller of the brands that I work with, the PR that I receive, the things that I post, the products I use, the things that are in and out. It's definitely gotten smaller. The pressure has felt a lot less, and I feel a little bit of a weight lifted off of my shoulders because of that. I do feel a little bit more free and having a little bit more fun. I feel a little bit more calm and peaceful than I have just in comparison to years past, and I like it. It's like this kind of, I'm digging the slower pace for sure. I feel a lot more calm and cool with it, and there's still like super fun things that I do. I still love the opportunities and so many of the brands that I work with. It's still so fun, but I do feel a little bit more at peace with the idea that I'm just doing a little bit less. Yeah, I'm just having a lot more fun with it. I definitely feel like the pressure is less, and it does exist. It always exists. And sorry, just in case I lost a total part of that question, when it comes to like the appearances and like what I do to my face and that kind of idea, I think naturally when you are constantly watching yourself, I'm constantly staring at photos of myself, watching videos back of myself over the years. There are so many things I've picked up on, so many things that I've nitpicked on. I stare at my face way more than the average person does, for sure. And even when it comes to my mannerisms, words that I overuse, like there's so many things that I have edited and dialed down and fixed, and yeah, oh yeah, it's crazy. Like not even the pressure of keeping up with what the outside world thinks, just for my own self, just constantly looking and editing yourself. It does a number on this for sure. Sorry, I felt like that was a part of that question, and I just thought I would get in there before I lost my total train of thought. Wow, it's happening already. Only 5 minutes in and we're already there. I thought that we could come into the bathroom to answer the next few questions because it just remains so deeply unfinished and it's making me sad. So I'm just gonna sit in here and use it, and let's just pretend. Okay, the next question is, what is your biggest influencer ick? And it kind of ties in with the other question, like what's your advice and what are your thoughts on the current creator industry and in the space in general? There are a few questions about that. I'd say that pretty much since TikTok became the platform of choice for so many creators and so many brands when it comes to activating and running campaigns through, the content creator space has changed so much. Like I'm definitely, I can't help it. I feel like I always age myself, but I just love YouTube so much. I love that there are still so many people who have continued to do YouTube, even though so many of like the OG YouTube creators have gone on to do other things. So many people have left their channel. I just really feel like the people who stuck to YouTube, I just appreciate so deeply because it's always so much my preferred platform, my preferred community building, if you will. I think TikTok has brought about so many opportunities for new creators to join into the space. It's become so much more massive, you know, even for the brands. Like whenever I get emails or campaigns coming through, people only want to see TikTok campaigns. People love the TikTok. They want to promote on TikTok. They want you to post on TikTok, and I'm always like, LOL. Shout out to the brands who still activate on YouTube. We love and appreciate you over here, big time. But I'm always so torn because while TikTok has given so many people the ability to become a creator in what seems to be like a much faster pace than what they ever could have done on YouTube. Like YouTube was always, at least for me, has been such a slow burn. It's been such a, you know, we've literally grown up together. It's been so many years. But for TikTok, it happens so fast. It happens to people overnight and at a much greater capacity. And with that, I guess my biggest influencer ick with all these people who have become influencers so quickly or become influencers overnight, and just because there's so much more opportunity for people to become content creators and influencers, if you will, it just becomes that. People are becoming a content creator to make money. People are becoming an influencer for the money. It kind of gives off pyramid schemey vibes. You know, people have a viral video and then they're like, okay, I'm gonna be a content creator now. And I found that when it happens quickly for people, there seems to be a lot less like kind of professional grace that comes with that. And then overall, it just seems to be a little bit less genuine. And that's not always the case. Obviously, there's so many fabulous creators who have done so well with all the platforms. But I think there's a lot of people who are just like, how to become an influencer overnight, and here, buy my package and buy my little creator plan. It just all seems like content is being made for the sake of making money, not for the actual genuine enjoyment of the content or the community. And again, that doesn't apply to everybody, but that's just my general feelings. I open TikTok now and I'm like, wow, I'm literally being sold something every 5 seconds and nothing feels genuine anymore, and I feel overwhelmed. We all gotta make a living somehow, totally, but it does feel less and less and less and less genuine as time goes on. Now, this is actually a beautiful segue into the next kind of set of questions, and it was brands you've had bad experiences with, or what are some bad experiences you've had as an influencer. And here's the thing, that's another thing that I just dislike about a lot of videos that I see on TikTok, or any of that kind of like spill the tea drama channels. Anyone who like capitalizes off of drama irks me deeply. I've really tried to never involve myself in any drama. I try really hard to keep my bubble on the internet a positive space. Now listen, I love me some good gossip, okay? I love to see what's going on, but I keep that to my private life. I don't ever love the idea of like jumping onto the internet, whether it's a TikTok video, something on Instagram, or a YouTube video, and just like total slander. So even though I would love nothing more than to tell you literally all of the moments, all of the crazy things that we've like experienced, all of the brands who have done me so dirty, and there are many brands who I don't use anymore, who I don't talk about anymore, people who work for the brands who have just, you know, there's obviously so many things that have happened over the last 13 years, but just for myself, I would never come online and air out my dirty laundry. I just feel like you just have to keep riding the wave and be peaceful. And obviously there's a lot of people who have been through some pretty crazy experiences where they feel like their only way to get through it is to post online, or to kind of have that kind of thing resolved. Obviously, like there's individual scenarios where people share their experiences online and it's warranted totally. Just for myself, I feel like nothing's been like so detrimental where I have felt like I need to make a video and talk about it. But if there was ever an opportunity to like make a reality TV show, a documentary, write a book on the experiences as a content creator, yeah, it's pretty crazy. We got stories, we got tales for sure. But equally, I will say on that note, I think the Canadian influencer space, or at least the people that I know and I have met, we've all been pretty peaceful. We've had a pretty peaceful existence, and that's been great. Like most of the influencers and my other comrades on the internet, whenever I've been on like a brand trip or been to events, people I've met, everyone's been generally very nice, and it's actually been very drama free, and I feel very grateful that so many of us have just been chilling and we're just doing our thing and we're all just kind of rolling in our own world, and that's also been very nice. I feel very lucky and very grateful that I've been able to thus far mostly peacefully exist on the internet. Welcome to what once upon a time was our bedroom, and it hasn't been our bedroom in a very long 4.5 months. But the next batch of questions were largely about Dan and I, our marriage, how did we meet, all those good things. And even though I've answered questions like this many times, I thought I would just kind of whip through a few, just because there were a lot, obviously, about Dan the man, the sweet angel, my darling husband, the man behind the camera. First one was, what felt different with Dan versus your other relationships, and how did I know that he was the one? And I'd actually be curious to go back and see how I've answered this in the past, but for the most part, I think with Dan and I, it was obviously so nice because we have known each other for a very long time, pretty much our entire lives, like since we were 10, since we were in elementary school. So I've known him, we have similar friends, we've been around the same friend group for a large part of our life. And when it came to us being in a relationship and me like knowing he was the one, I think the total comfortability, like I can 100% be myself in front of this person and with this person, and we spend every waking second together, and it still never feels like enough. Like there's almost never a time where I'm not looking forward to spending more time, if not all of my time with him, and never feeling like I have to put a face on or act a certain way. Like I'm 100% my own self when I'm around Dan, and he is the same with me, and we just exist in this little bubble together. That's what feels different, because in any of my past relationships or when I was younger, I felt like I was never 100% myself. I'd always be like, oh, am I being too clingy? Am I being too lovey? Am I being too crazy? Like there was always a question of like, oh, is he not gonna like me? Or, oh, I have to act this way for them to stay with me, or whatever. Like I was never really truly authentically myself with other people, whereas with Dan, I'm like, oh, we love each other no matter what. And that feels very different to me, and very special, and I feel very lucky that we have that together. And then a lot of you asked, do you and Dan get on each other's nerves being together all the time? How do we navigate working together so closely? Do we have any marital tension? Do we spend too much time together? And I think that a lot of people probably experienced this during the lockdown. I know that like lockdown and those kind of COVID years were make or break for a lot of people. And don't get me wrong, we definitely have like most of our arguments surrounding working together. We have a lot of creative differences, and obviously like what we do is heavily involved with me and my feelings and my thoughts and what I'm saying and my face on the internet. So it's been many years of us navigating that together, and there can be difficult times for sure. And it just feels like a unique, weird little scenario. And obviously other couples that we speak to who also do the same thing and who are in the influencer space, it's just hard to navigate because so few people do it. Sometimes we feel a little bit alone with our problems and like we don't have many people to talk to about it. And that's why the other influencers that we've made friends with who are kind of dealing with the same things and who are in the same boat and who are facing the same struggles together, it's so nice to be able to speak openly to them about it, because when you do have like couple conflict in your weird little workspace and your weird little bubbles on the internet, there's just unique little scenarios, unique troubles, and unique things that you just have to face together, and it's all weird. It's all weird. And the other hard part is that you never really shut off. We're never really shut off from doing what we do, because I'm just filming our life for the internet. It's weird. And managing that while trying to keep your relationship alive, yeah, sometimes it's really freaking hard and sometimes it's weird. But at the end of the day, when you are trying to root for each other and you love each other lots and you enjoy each other's company, that definitely makes it easier. If I didn't like Dan, that would be really, really hard and weird. And as far as marital tension and like how to kind of resolve an argument, I think you just have to be very, very overly communicative and speak about your feelings. And if something bothers you, you just have to try and nip it in the bud right there. Try to not let your emotions overwhelm you. Try to not say anything too mean in the heat of a moment that you might regret later. Try to never go to bed angry. And when you're able to speak openly and frankly to each other, hopefully you can resolve any of those things in the moment and not sit on it too much. So sometimes it's easier said than done, but yeah, I think just being open and honest about how you're feeling at all times is like the only way forward, because if you're holding anything in and then you're working together and then you're spending every waking second together, you're like, I'm gonna explode. I need to tell you all of my feelings right now. And then maybe this was for some of those who are maybe newer to my channel, but there was a lot of questions around the wedding planning, what did we do? Just like any of the questions surrounding the wedding, I'm just gonna go ahead and link the wedding videos, because I literally filmed getting my makeup done on the day. I filmed a whole big Q&A on everything that we did for our wedding and everything kind of leading up to it. So I'll link a few of those videos down below in case you wanted a little refresh, or if you've never seen it before, everything that we did for our wedding. But I look at it very, very fondly. I'm so happy that we did what we did. It was a very, very lovely time that we look back on often, and I always feel really giddy. And I look at it now and I'm like, oh, even then we seem so small. It feels like lifetimes ago, yet it also feels like it was just yesterday. And then a few people also asked for bachelorette tips and planning a bachelorette, and if you're gonna do a trip or a party with your gals, what's the top tips? And I just have to say that I actually plan my bachelorette using ChatGPT, literally everything. I actually realized, I think I had planned on making like a little short video or a TikTok video on that, and I don't think I ever did, but I did a trip to Tulum with my girlfriends. We had so much fun, and I actually planned the whole thing on ChatGPT. I literally was like, dear ChatGPT, please plan me a 5-day itinerary in Tulum with XYZ, and it literally gave me the company that we used for the paddleboarding retreat that we did. It gave me the company for the boat rental that we did, everything down to the restaurants, the beach clubs that we did, everything. I just asked ChatGPT. And booked the whole thing, and it was great, and we had the best time. I've come into the den for the next set of questions, which we haven't been in here in a while, and it's because it is my current dumping ground for everything that I am avoiding and procrastinating and needing to deal with. So I just pushed some things out of the way, and we'll just pretend like all the clutter isn't there. So there were so many questions around friends and friendships and adult friendships and friendship breakups, and it's something that I've wanted to talk about so much because it is crazy entering your 30s and dealing with friendships in your adult world. And I have so many thoughts and so many feelings. And so I was really happy that there were so many questions about it. And I think that so many of us are going through so many of the same things right now. So I just wanted to have a little chat about it. So first question was, what do you value in friendships? And this one actually made me sit and take a pause. And I really had to think about it, because like, what do I value in a friendship? And Dan and I talk about it all the time, like how interesting it is how your friendships change as you become an adult and go into your 30s and life gets crazy and everyone kind of goes on their own life paths. And I've been slowly coming to realize that there are just going to be different friendships for different things in your life. And Armene and I were actually talking about this the other day, because there is an Aristotle quote on friendships, and he said that there are friendships based on utility, friendships based on pleasure, and friendships based on virtue. And I have found this to be so true in my life. So friendships of utility, these are formed because individuals find mutual benefit or advantage in a relationship, such as business partnership or a friends with benefit situation. There are friendships of pleasure. These are based on the enjoyment or shared interest that individuals derive from each other's company, like a group of friends who enjoy a particular hobby or social activity. And then the friendships of virtue. These are the most enduring and valuable friendships, as they are rooted in mutual respect, admiration for each other's good character, and a desire for each other's well-being. And this is so true. And I try to remind myself of this all the time, because because I'm a person who really struggles with just like fleeting for funsy acquaintance friendships. I really struggle with keeping up with people and I'm not good at like casual friendships. I want to sit and have deep chats. I really value time and getting to know someone on a deep and personal level, and those are the friendships that I value the most. So I guess according to Aristotle, I value the friendships of virtue the most. And that being said, that there are friends for everything. You don't have to have the deepest meaningful connection with every single person that you meet. The friendships of utility, I look at that as kind of like necessary acquaintances. Maybe people that you see so frequently because of the workplace that you're in, because of the work that you do, but not necessarily someone who you're gonna like invite to a family dinner, you know? And then for the friendships of pleasure, and literally the people who you do your hobbies with, I think of the people who we play tennis with. Like, I know nothing about so much of their lives, and I'm so okay with that. I'm like, you know what? We're here to play tennis. We're here to have a good time. I love seeing you multiple times a week, and I enjoy that together, but it doesn't necessarily need to go deeper than that for me to enjoy this time spent together. So I think the question of what I value in a friendship, it just depends on what that friendship looks like. And I value each of those friendships so differently, and they all bring different things to my life, and they're all valuable in their own way. And then as for how I maintain friendships, like guys, I really struggle with this because I am in a world that is very widespread, and I meet people so frequently and from all over the world. And like I kind of touched on earlier, so many people who I've met have been so kind and so fabulous. And there are so many people in different cities and in different countries around the world where I'm like, oh, I know that if I was like geographically closer to you, this would be such a beautiful deep friendship because I love you so much. But like, I really struggle with maintaining long distance relationships. I'm very much like an out of sight, out of mind type of person. I don't know what that says about me or if that's really bad, but I really value my quality time. I like to spend time with people, in front of people. I don't love to sit and text. I'm not good on text. I just use lots of emojis, and I just like to be physically with somebody. So trying to maintain like a deep, meaningful connection long distance is really hard. And I miss so many of my great friends who I've made in the different places around the world, and it makes me sad. And I feel like the older you get and the crazier life becomes, yeah, it's harder to make plans, and it's harder to see people as frequently because you're all kind of going on your different paths in life. And then people start to get married, they have their partners, they start having kids, they have their own families, and you kind of just, you can't help it, but you see people more frequently when they are closer to you. And Dan and I are definitely struggling with that right now because we moved ourselves away from all of our family and friends, and it just becomes harder and harder to keep up with people. And I really love just casually seeing my closest friends. I love going for coffees, going for little walks, doing a workout class together, going to the gym, like those things that are part of your everyday. If you can do those with people that you love, like that is so nice because you then just get to see your friends more where you kind of don't really get to see them so much. And so then navigating that and planning that, I've said this before, but me and my close girlfriends here, we have a shared calendar because there's no other way to like nicely and easily plan quality time spent together because we're all literally doing our own things, living in our own separate worlds, and we just have a shared calendar. We put in all of our travel dates and we try to see each other as frequently as we can. We try and put a dinner together, we try and do a workout together, do a walk, whatever. We try and plot things in the calendar, and having a shared Google Cal has been so helpful for us spending time together because trying to coordinate things in a little group chat, it's hard. The calendar saved us. And as for my long distance friendships, I try to make an effort to go and see people as often as I can. And obviously that's just with what I do. Obviously that makes travel a lot easier. I try to extend my trips whenever I can and pop in and see people if I can. I will literally route my flights to try and see some of my favorite people. I'll take a layover in Toronto or London any day, baby. I will try and make that happen. But other than that, it's like a voice note here and there, and I'll see you when I see you. And just know I'm loving you and missing you from afar. And I've just come to realize I am not a daily check-in friend, and I physically can't be, and I just don't have that much energy to be able to do such a thing. Does that answer that question? I feel like I got a little lost there, sorry. Okay, then the next question was how to deal with jealousy in friendship groups, some girls being closer than others, that kind of vibe. And I have to say that this is a hard thing to tackle, and it kind of follows up from my conversation with Dan, where I think that communication is always key. And what I've found that, I guess going again with what I value in friendships, is I think it's so important to be able to be very open with your closest friends. Like for the most part, the people who are closest to me in my life are the people who I can be completely 100% myself with. with, 100% honest with, open with, and you just have to have that open communication. And when things are a little tense, if there's any kind of jealousy bits, if there's anything that comes up, to be able to speak about it is so important. And sometimes that can be a little bit tricky to navigate when all of us girls are very sensitive and we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But what I'm also realizing is, as people are in different phases of life, going through different things at different times, like some of my girlfriends are having kids and starting families, and they're going to really deeply connect on that. Me and some of my friends work in similar places, or we do the same thing, and you just kind of connect deeply on that. Again, you have different friends for different kind of parts in your life, and you're naturally going to be closer to some people over others because of those similar connections and things that you share together. So two of my girlfriends, I am green with envy over my two friends who are having babies like at the exact same time. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet and so special that you guys are going to be like going through that together. You're going to literally be able to take your babies for walks, and you're going to be going through the same things, and you're going to be connecting on that huge part of your life together that I have like no idea kind of what you're going through whatsoever. Like, I can't be there and be as connected for you in that way as much as the other person can. And I think that's totally natural, and that's totally fine. You just kind of have to accept that as a part of life. And I don't feel, I said green with envy, but it's more so acknowledging that like, oh, I would love to have that. And I hope that if I ever decide to have kids, that I can have someone who I'm going through that experience alongside, because my girlfriends are everything. And I hope that I'll be able to share that with one of them. And I think you just naturally are allowed to be closer to some people than others, depending on what you're going through at the time. And I hope if they're your closest people, that there would be no jealousy, and that you would be able to kind of talk about that openly and be able to deal with it and move on positively together. Okay, and then the big whammy, how to deal with friendship breakups. Oh man, there were so many comments about this, so many things, and it's so hard. What I've come to realize now is that a really bad friendship breakup is worse than any relationship breakup, any other breakup that I've ever had, because it stings on a deeper level. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I've had my fair share of friendship breakups. Some are natural. Some people you just lose touch with. Some people you just kind of, again, you maybe had like a shared experience together. Maybe you were working together, you lived together, you lived in the same area, and then the other person moves. Like, there's a lot of different reasons for having friendship breakups. It doesn't need to all be so deep and dramatic, but sometimes, man, oh yeah, I've had a few friendship breakups where I'm like, wow, I have never stopped thinking about that. And every time I think about it, it actually gives me a little pain in the gut. There's nothing worse. I think we all naturally seek closure, and we all want a reason, we all want a why, and we don't always get that why, and it can be so painful to deal with, especially when you're a deep people pleaser like myself. And I'm like, what do you mean? Why aren't you answering my phone call? Why did you just send me that horrific message? This is crazy. I'll never get over it. I will take this with me to the grave, and I'll never get over it. Yeah, I definitely carry those feelings a lot. Friendship breakups suck. And I think it's just a natural part of, again, getting older, having different experiences, being in different phases of life. Like, there's so many, yeah, it's tough, man. How to deal with it is that sometimes you just don't ever get over it. And you just have to accept that you might not get over it, and you just have to move on. And that person might just not be meant to be a part of your life, and you will find someone else who you will connect with and have a beautiful relationship with. And, you know, there's going to be someone else for you in the world. Maybe it just wasn't that person. And it can be really sad, and it can be really hard, but time heals all. That's all I can say on that. All right, we've entered the kitchen for this next one because it's kind of following from this. And how does one navigate friends and family and partners who might not understand your fitness and healthy eating goals? And there are also just a lot of questions around the program and the alcohol and entering a new healthy and wellness journey, and how to deal with friends who put you down about not drinking, and for the people who don't support your health and wellness goals, basically. And I'm just going to peel my little shrimp while we talk about this, because funny enough, my mom is actually on her way, and my mom has also been doing the program with us, and I am making her a little shrimp bowl to enjoy with me. And I have to say that when I started the program, and when Dan and I both just made those like huge changes in our life where we really just stopped partying, we stopped drinking pretty much almost entirely, and made health and wellness and fitness and the program and all these things just like a huge focus of our life and pretty much our entire personality. And obviously that was a huge life change that we had, and it did change so many relationships that we had. It changed a lot of our friendships, and we did get a lot of flack, and we still do, from so many of our friends and family members. And again, I think that when you have such a big change in your life, you do have to take a step back and reflect on what some of your friendships mean to you and what that looks like. Like back in the day when we were partying and we go out to the bars and we go out to the clubs, and you're doing a lot of drinking, and that was a huge part of our social life. Like, removing alcohol from the equation removes instantly a lot of relationships that you had. Like, I sat there and I'm like, oh, do I actually like hang out with this person when alcohol is not present? Is this just my party friend? And again, there's nothing wrong with that. You can have people who you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to the club with you because I wanna go dancing and this is great and you're my festival friend or whatever that might be. But when you take that out of your life, you're like, oh, wow, I totally do not relate to you whatsoever anymore. And I actually love that I don't have to ever deal with a hangover and have a late night and lose all my sleep and heavily drink and be hungover. And yeah, it just totally changes those relationships. And then when it comes to the family members and dealing with our meal prep and healthy eating, like it has been a long path to kind of getting our family on board. And you know, a lot of our family members have a strong love language of making us food, and that can be difficult to navigate when you're trying to follow a program and do a cut. Like, no, mama, don't make me a giant carrot cake 3 times a week. Thank you so much. I can't say no. But again, I think you just have to evaluate that unique situation as they come. And I'm so happy that like a lot of our friends and family have kind of joined us, and now instead of going out clubbing, we're going for brunch and we're going for runs and we're getting excited about trying new workout classes together, and my mom is getting excited about meal prepping with me. And you know, I think it sounds like such a preachy little religious thing, really, to be like, join us, but literally like the idea of health and wellness and longevity and feeling amazing, yeah, once you start, you kind of can't go back. It's pretty tough. And I think your friends and family will either want no part or they will be inspired and join this little new life with you. So shout out to you, Mom. This shrimp is coming to you shortly. I actually have to state again that I feel so lucky that Dan and I are kind of on the same page, because we both definitely found this like health and wellness journey together. But I was just thinking that I realized there's a few things that I think you have to be like super aligned on in life to live harmoniously and be together. Like Dan and I are very much aligned, and I think that's why we are able to go about our life in the way that we do. Because there's a few things I feel very strongly about, like there's no drugs, no smoking in this world. If that was something that we felt really strongly differently about, I don't know how we would exist. I don't think we would be together if we weren't aligned on those few things. So asking about how to navigate your partner not agreeing or not supporting that like huge major lifestyle change is like, that would be so hard. I actually don't know what I would do. I think that would be a pretty like big deal breaker for me. Like if I was waking up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym and my partner was just coming home from a night out with the boys and that was like recurring behavior, but there's no way. That would not be my life. I would not be able to support or be able to deal with that. Like, I think those are two very opposite, very different lives and lifestyles. And then if you're raising kids and that's the way you're living, like, I don't know. It might work for a lot of people. For me, and I think because we're so heavily involved together in working together and we spend so much time together, like we just have to be aligned on those things or our life and our lifestyle would not work. That's super tough. And I only hope that if your partner and you are like deeply in love and want to make things work, that hopefully you'd be able to find some kind of compromise, or hopefully you could just inspire them to live a happier and healthier life and long life together. So yeah, holy, that's a tough one, man. I feel very grateful to you, darling. I'm grateful for you. We got one bowl of shrimp. We got another bowl of shrimp. My mom's on her way. I'm making seal sama stir fry. So I recently remembered my love for the seal sama teriyaki sauce. Delicious. And I had meal prepped some quinoa and lentils. Oh, is she here? And some bok choy. So I'm gonna whip us up a stir fry. Hi! Mom's here, Milo's here. There, I was just cooking up the shrimp.
Oh, yummy.
Shrimp. And on that note, friends, so sorry I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm gonna have a lovely little stir fry with my mom. And I feel like I've been blabbing for so long, but there were so many more questions that I didn't get to. So thank you so much to everyone who sent in your questions. I feel like I'm gonna have to do a part 2 because there's a few other things that I really wanna talk about. If there's any other topics that you want me to talk about, please let me know in the comments down below. I will happily do this again. But thanks for having a little chat with me tonight. I feel like life is weird and life is crazy and there's lots of different things that we can touch on and chat about. Isn't that right, Milo? Come say hi. Come here. Oh, you smell that shrimp, don't you? Don't you? I love you all so much. Thank you for being here and for watching as always. And I'll see you all tomorrow for a new video. Bye! I was about to say for a new Madness video. Wow.